The History of Antarctic Exploration by Jim Whiting. Introduction. About 2,500 years ago, the ancient Greeks began to think there was a massive continent at the bottom of Earth. They gave it the name of Antarctica, yet no one actually saw this mysterious continent until 1820. It was nearly another century before anyone set foot on its most famous landmark, the South Pole. It required even more years to fully map the continent. Research continues today as scientists learn more about Antarctica. The most distinctive feature of Antarctica is its massive ice cap. It is so thick that Antarctica's average elevation of nearly 7,500 feet is higher than any other continent. According to some estimates, more than 80% of the world's fresh water lies in the ice cap. Scientists estimate that the level of the oceans all around the world would rise by nearly 200 feet if all this ice ever melted. Antarctica is the coldest place on Earth. One time, the temperature dropped to nearly 130 degrees below zero. Even in the summer, temperatures normally hover around 32 degrees. It is also very windy. Blizzards are common, especially in the winter. As a result of these harsh conditions, Antarctica is the only continent that has no native peoples. About 4,000 people live there now. Nearly all are scientists and their families. They take advantage of the latest technology to live in relative comfort. These people were preceded by brave explorers who didn't have the advantages of modern technology. These men endured incredible hardships. Many had to spend long months together under extreme conditions. They formed close bonds that helped them survive. Over the years, most have become almost entirely forgotten. A few, such as Captain James Cook, Roald Amundsen, Robert Scott, and Ernest Shackleton, remain world famous. Their stories are epic sagas that demonstrate the ability of people to push themselves beyond the limits they had previously thought they were capable of reaching. Chapter 1. The Discovery of Antarctica. The ancient Greeks discovered Antarctica about 2,500 years ago. This discovery has some unusual elements. One is that the Greeks found Antarctica by looking to the north rather than southward. Another is that the discovery came as a result of gazing at the skies rather than at Earth. A third is that the Greeks never actually set foot on Antarctica. Like many ancient peoples, the Greeks often spent their nights watching the stars. They imagined that certain combinations of stars, called constellations, resembled legendary people, mythical beasts, and even ordinary animals. One of these ordinary animals was the bear. In fact, the Greeks actually thought they saw two bears. They called one the Great Bear. The other was the Little Bear. Today we call these constellations the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. The Greeks noted that every constellation and every star moved along a predictable path throughout the night. Every star except one, that is. The star at the tip of the little bear's tail never changed its position. It pointed directly north. So they called it the North Star, or Polaris. Their observations also convinced them that Earth was a sphere. In the 4th century BC, the famous philosopher Aristotle divided this spherical world into 5 zones. Surrounding the equator was a torrid zone. 2 temperate zones, one to the north, the other to the south, surrounded the torrid zone. In turn, 2 cold zones extended from the edges of the temperate zones to the respective poles. The Greeks knew that no one could live in either cold zone. Because the cold zone in the north lay under the North Star, part of the Little Bear, Aristotle named it the bear. The Greek word for bear is Arctos. It would eventually be spelled Arctic in English. The other cold zone was at the opposite end of Earth from the Arctos. The Greek word for opposite is anti. Therefore, Aristotle named the southern cold zone Anti-Arctos, or opposite from the bear. Today we spell it Antarctica. Aristotle offered one more proof for the existence of Antarctica. The land masses in the north, with which the Greeks were familiar, had to be balanced by similar masses in the south, even though no Greek had ever seen them. Otherwise, Earth would wobble. It might even tip over. Several centuries later, the noted scholar Ptolemy produced his Guide to Geography. Like the Greeks, he had never seen Antarctica. yet he was convinced that it existed.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?